Welcome all of you once again. It's Backpack, and again we are talking about Egypt. We're talking about many beautiful sites where you can enjoy your vacation. Whether we're talking about Cairo or outside Cairo, we have many beautiful sites. For all those who are looking for ancient sites, for history, for culture, for recreational tourism, still you have the chance to enjoy a wonderful vacation. But this time I want to talk about something that is a little bit different. Well, usually when you visit important sites, you have something in mind. You want to learn about history, about culture, you want to swim, you want to dive, many important parts or points that you are thinking of to just decide on where you are going to spend the vacation. Today, I'll tell you something very important in this respect. Abydos is home to many tombs belonging to the first and second dynasties. Many kings built their temples Abydos, including King Pepi I, King Ahmose I, King Seti I, and King Ramses II. Ancient Egyptians believed that the tomb of Osiris, the god of the dead and the underworld, was located in Abydos, and it is where his head was buried. Abydos is about 130 kilometers north of Luxor. For nearly 2,000 years, Abydos was Egypt's prime burial ground, as it marked the entrance to the underworld and is where Osiris' head was buried. The city was called Abdia in the ancient Egyptian language, meaning the hill of the symbol or reliquary, a reference to a liquor in which the sacred head of Osiris was preserved. Egyptians averred that the dead went west for the entrance to the underworld, and it was believed to lie amid the desert hills beyond Abydos, and by bringing other deities into the Osirian fold, Abydos acquired a near monopoly on death cults, which persisted into Ptolemaic times. Its superbly carved temple of Seti I has been a tourist attraction since the 1830s, as it was rated as the finest artwork in Egypt. The area is considered to be amongst the most famous archaeological sites in the world. The temple of Seti I is always often referred to as the Great Temple of Abydos. largely because it is the most imposing structure at the site. It is also extremely well preserved, which makes it appear even more impressive. Inside the temple, visitors can see a wonderful collection of paintings and also a comprehensive list of the names of almost all the pharaohs that ruled Egypt. The names, which are carved into a giant stone, is a very accurate account of the various pharaohs and also an incredibly rare find. Archaeologists were so impressed by its discovery that it is today often called the Rosetta Stone of Egyptian mythology. This temple has a unique design in the shape of an upside-down L. It also contains the most complete list of the kings. The temple contains 7 shrines dedicated to 7 gods: Osiris, Isis, Horus, Amun-Ra, Ra-Hur, Akti, Tah, and Seti I as a deified king. This temple, you will find the most well-preserved painted reliefs and texts from the 18th dynasty. The Temple of Abydos was constructed with white marble and once had a large pylon built by Ramses II. As for its layout, the front of the temple is a square-columned facade with 12 rectangular pillars adorned with decorations of Ramses II, welcoming the gods Osiris, Isis, and Horus. The temple originally had 7 gates leading to 7 shrines constructed by Seti I. But Ramses II made some additional parts to the construction, and there is only 1 gate now open. This gate leads to the Hypostyle Hall, which was built and decorated by King Ramses II. As for the columns, they are decorated with papyrus bud capitals. There are many representations of Ramses II offering to many gods. Further west, you will find a second, even more impressive Hypostyle Hall. And who built it? Seti II. The walls depicting Seti I giving offerings to Osiris and Horus in front of Osiris' shrine. The decorations in this hall are the best in the temple, and the finely painted wall is of amazing quality. Abydos used to be the sacred land for ancient Egyptians. Many guidebooks stated that the sacred city of Abydos was founded during the time of the first dynasty pharaohs, and most historians believe that the city was originally founded by pre-dynastic rulers and then continuously added to be many of the pharaohs between the 1st and 13th dynasties. Symmetry was used throughout this period, and records show that all the first dynasty pharaohs, as well as some of the second dynasty pharaohs, were buried at Abydos. It is believed that Abydos served as a cult center ever since the city was first founded, and today it is clear that by the end of the Old Kingdom period, Abydos was primarily a center for the Osiris and Isis cult. Paintings and scrolls found in tombs throughout Egypt reveal that making the pilgrimage to Abydos was seen as being a noble thing to do and an accomplishment to be incredibly proud of. So if you are in Luxor or Hurghada, you have the chance to visit these two most beautiful places, the most beautiful temples ever, Abydos temples and also Dendara temples, where you can see the famous temple of Hathor at Dendara.
historical sites, the ancient sites, usually when you are thinking about these beautiful locations here in Egypt, you are using the traditional way of thinking. You are thinking about the famous ancient sites, temples, monuments, all the famous sites. But this time I want to tell you something just to get out of the box and think in a different way. Don't follow the traditional one. If you want to learn more about the ancient sites, better to find out more about the very ancient sites, where it started. All these beautiful sites that are really very old, even older than the temples that we all visit. This is very important to learn more about the story, more about the history, how it started and where it started, more about the very ancient beliefs. So we have some important sites. Maybe it is not that famous like other famous sites, but it is very important to start with these sites, to learn more about the ancient pharaohs, to learn more about the ancient temples and monuments, and more about the real story of the ancient culture and civilization.
The Temple of Hathor was built in the 1st century BC, and it is one of the best preserved temples in all of Egypt. Later, Roman emperors continued to decorate it to honor the Hathor, the goddess of maternity, love, and music. The Greeks knew Hathor as Aphrodite. First gateway, built by Roman Emperor Domitian in 80 AD, and leads to the well-preserved Great Hall, which is decorated with Hathoric columns. On these columns, you will see the face of Hathor. The upper front edge of the cornice is decorated with the winged sun disk. Hathor is mainly represented with the horns of the sacred cow protruding from her head, supporting the solar disk of the sun. In her hands, she holds an ankh, the symbol of life, and a scepter. The interior walls of the Great Hall have remarkable scenes depicting sacrifices made to the goddess of the temple. The amazing ceiling abounds with astronomical representations. It is amazing. The ceiling here is amazing. It is divided into 7 ways, and the best remaining 3 are: the first division on the eastern side which depicts the Nut, the goddess of the sky, who is bending herself towards the earth, with the sun disk shining on the temple and the mask of Hathor. Secondly, and next to the first, is the representation of the sun boat and star goddess. The third one is the western ceiling, which shows a perfect representation of the zodiac signs. One of the reasons that the temple is so beloved, the original zodiac relief is now in the Louvre Museum in Paris. The 12 figures are the ram, the bull, the heavenly twins, the crab, the lion, the virgin, the scales, the scorpion, the archer, the goat, the watering pots, and fishes with glittering tails. On the inner walls of the screen, the hawk-headed god Horus and the ibis-head god Tut are pouring drops of holy water over the king, and this scene is called the baptism scene, symbolizing life and happiness. The second hall has 6 columns, adorned with rich capitals and granite pedestals. On both sides of this hall are small storerooms, used to store the wine jars that came from the island of Crete and the fertile Fayoum and Kharga oases. And of course, next you'll find the central chapel and its 2 altars, one for the sacred boat and the other for the sacrifices offered to the goddess Hathor. The beautifully sculptured reliefs on the walls of the shrines represent Ptolemy and other rulers whose names were left blank in the oval cartouches, dancing with offerings to the sacred boat of Hathor and her husband Horus. And the representatives of the king, the high priests, and some noblemen once gathered in the great hall to prepare for the daily rituals. rooms are covered in stars and black soot from the fires caused by later inhabitants of the temple. The rooms around the sanctuary were used for scientific purposes, as well as the storing of the sacred boat, the sacred wreath, the golden image of the goddess Hathor, and musical instruments. There is also the staircases which lead to the roof of the temple. They are decorated with beautiful symbols of the 12 months of the year. On the eastern corner of the roof is the chapel of the god Osiris, and the scenes on its walls represents Osiris rising from the dead and becoming the god of the underworld. And it is from the chapel that the best representation of the zodiac was taken.
Well, that was all for our backpack for today. Thank you all for joining us. We will be back again to bring you more about Egypt and more about the important sites where you can enjoy your vacation.